Steve Kaufman. Geez, a week from now I'll be going to Mexico. Quite excited. I'm going to talk today about what I call letting the language come to you. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. This morning I played hockey. I play old timers hockey 3 times a week. Monday and Friday we have like a pickup situation. We have a blue team and a gold team, and one of our members makes up a lineup, and we go there and we find out whether we're blue or gold, 10 on each side plus 2 goaltenders. And we just play nonstop, no whistles. And then on Wednesday we have a game with referees and 3 periods and the rest of it. This morning, our lineup, we were the Blues. We had a few nice goals. My line in particular, we had a few nice combination plays and goals, and I think we might have won that 4-2 or something. And then in the second game, we kind of pressed too hard and tried to make. I think we were just trying harder, and so we lost. And so my winger there, I play center. My winger said, sometimes we got to just let the game come to us. Rather than forcing it too hard. And that made me think of my experience with language learning. And, here I am now trying to juggle 3 languages. I'm trying to continue to improve in Russian and Czech, while at the same time learn Korean. And there's only so many hours in the day. So I find that more and more I'm just comfortable doing what I like doing and just accepting whatever it is I'm able to achieve. So, of course, to me, the main thing that I'm able to do here is to read and listen. And so my main satisfaction and sense of achievement comes from understanding. So I spend a fair amount of time at Link. I copy, paste, or import items from Echa Moskwy or from Jak to Vidyi. I listen to them and then I go through them at Link, and typically they'll have 5, 6, 7% unknown words, and I'll go through those and then maybe read it again. And then I'll try to find time to do some Korean. And there again in my Korean, mostly I go at more difficult content like this Kim Hyun-hee biography of this North Korean terrorist, really, who blew up a plane in 1987. And who's telling her life story, and there typically the new word count is like 40%, so it's hard work, and then I don't understand when I'm listening. But ever since and then I'd have a discussion, and sometimes I'd do well, sometimes I wouldn't do well, and I found even with Korean I was putting pressure on myself because I couldn't understand what the tutor was saying very well, unless I dictate the subject by talking about something that I can talk about, and then, of course, the tutor has to come back with something that I can talk about, so then we can talk about some limited number of things. But if the tutor starts going in Korean, then I don't know what she's talking about, or he. And so that kind of bothered me in a way. And then I kind of said, well, does it really matter? Just enjoy what you're able to do, just work my way through those difficult texts. I'm learning about this Korean spy, and she's describing her life in North Korea and how she got involved in these spy activities, or these really terrorist activities. I occasionally flip back to some easier content, Bang Bang's diary, which we have. But in Czech and Russian, I'm very much still enjoying what I'm doing, and it's funny, like the last few times that I've spoken with my Russian and Czech and even Korean tutors, they've all told me that I'm doing better than ever. Now, that of course depends on the occasion. If I've just come off doing a lot of reading, and I find that reading especially helps. If I've come off doing a lot of reading, I'll tend to do better. But today I'd been listening to Czech in the car, and then I went to have a haircut, and my barber is Ukrainian, and so we usually speak Russian, and I had more difficulty there than I did when I had my conversation with Alex, one of my Russian tutors, or with Evgeny for that matter. So I guess what I'm coming to is, like, just as in hockey, the play comes at you in a certain way. Opportunities present themselves. You react to that. Hopefully, in hockey, the puck comes your way. You're able to see someone open. You make a pass, they score, or whatever. or you see a play developing at the other end, and so you'll peel back and be ready to back check when they counterattack. And so you kind of feed off the play, let the play come to you rather than trying too hard, rather than going in and forechecking like crazy. And so in a way, language is the same way. If you've had an opportunity to speak a lot, then you're going to speak better. If what you are able to do is read and listen, then do that and enjoy it. And when the opportunity arises to speak more, you'll gradually start speaking better. I know with Korean that I'm 6 months away from, I know that I have to work my new words total on LINQ down from 40% to 10%. I know from experience that when I'm at 10%, I'll be doing fine. I'll be able to express myself with mistakes, but I'll be able to express myself. While I'm at 40%, I'm just going to have to plow along. So that's how the game of Korean presents itself to me right now. And so because I have an unknown word count of 40%, when I'm talking to my tutor, they're talking quickly. I mean, I can hear where the words begin and end, but I don't know what they're saying. And so I just have to accept that. That's just the way it is. That's the way the Korean presents itself to me. If I've been focusing on Czech for the 30, 40 minutes in the car listening to something in Czech, and all of a sudden I have to speak Russian to my Ukrainian barber, I'm going to struggle. That's just the way it happens. It doesn't bother me. I think part of it is that, I think a lot of people, of course, everyone learning a language wants to speak. The goal is output. But I'm in no hurry to be able to output in, say, Korean. I know from experience that there will come a point when I'll be able to output better. Right now, my ability to make output, to speak, is limited, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me. However, it was interesting in my conversation with Czech Russian that he said that a lot of learners want this transparency. They want to be able to understand everything. They want to be able to speak when they want to speak. And so therefore, I think that's one of the reasons for the success of programs like TPRS, which is teaching proficiency through reading and storytelling, because there they make a deliberate effort to make people relax, let them, create stories that are of interest to them, and then they limit the amount of vocabulary that's taught in any lesson. They allow the students to say time out if they didn't understand. So that everything is done to relax the student, to make it relevant to the student, to make it of interest to the student, to make it only a limited amount of vocabulary is introduced, because this then makes the student feel more relaxed. It introduces this element of certainty or transparency. However, and I think that's great for those people who want to do that, but my goal is to get that new words percentage down from 40% to 10% in reading authentic material like this biography. So if every time I go to class I'm introduced to 3 phrases only, it'll be a long time before I'll be able to read things of interest to me. So for me, the way the game presents itself to me, the way the language comes to me, the way that I want to deal with the language is that I'm quite happy just to plow along, reading and slowly increasing my vocabulary, slowly but faster than if I were only learning 3 phrases per lesson. Because typically I'm adding, hundreds and hundreds of words a week to my vocabulary. If I look at the example of Czech, I do believe that for me to be reading Czech articles where there's only 5% new words, where I understand most of what's there, I have a large vocabulary. It's got to be in the 30, 40,000 word area. I don't know. That includes all the inflections and conjugations and so forth. And that's within 15 months. So, that's several thousand a month of words. You can't do that if you're learning 3 phrases per lesson. However, that's the way I want to deal with the language. That's the way the language comes to me. I accept it that way. I accept the lack of transparency, the lack of certainty, the difficulty, the inability to express myself, to say much of anything for the first 3, 4, 5 months, stumbling. Even in Korean, when I have tried to focus on these patterns and read them and listen to just the patterns almost out of context in the hope that this would help me. In effect, when I go to speak, I don't necessarily do any better. And rather, it's when I've been exposed to a lot of natural content that I find I do better. And so I'm sort of able then to just, rather than forcing the study of certain patterns, I just take it as it comes to me. I'm doing things of interest. That's how the language comes to me. And I just keep plugging away. So I don't know if I'm making myself very clear in this, but we all have different goals in the language. And it gets back to, again, I was listening to an interview on Echa Moskvy with a Russian, gosh, I can't remember his name. Was it Dmitry Ivanov, who is a Russian language teacher who actually had or Petrov, I can't remember. He had a program on Russian television, which I saw, where over a series of weeks or months, he taught people to speak English, and he was very effective. And so he was being interviewed by Sergei Buntman on Echa Moskvy, and much of what he said I fully agree with. And one of the key things that he said that I fully agree with is that the number one thing, and he said this in answer to a question from a child who phoned in, but when asked about what is the most important thing in learning languages, he said it's to enjoy the process. So you've got to enjoy the process. However, whatever it takes for you to enjoy the process, let the language come to you, enjoy it, and you will succeed. So I hope this makes sense, and I look forward to your comments. Thank you for listening.